So in terms of labels, what do we have here? What are on those labels? Yep. Which one is which? Which one are you pointing at? This one here? Sure. Which one are the arteries? Sorry? Not all of them. Not all of them are arteries. No, I don't think so. What does the picture look like?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you mean the top ones, though? What are the bottom ones? No, not all the way at the bottom. We do have a different. They're veins. So what is the main difference? And let's take a look here.
This one
Yeah.
down is for the artery.
Yeah, very careful. Right there. Whoops, I don't want that color. Right there. All right. And this one here, okay, is an artery. How do I spell that? A-R-T-E-R-I-E-S. What is the key part that makes those arteries? What makes those the arteries? It's going away from the heart. So notice this one's coming out of the heart and out of the heart. So this is away from the heart. All right? What is it about the arteries? What is it about the blood that's coming out of the heart? Yep. It does. Not necessarily. If it's coming out of the heart and going to the lungs, it doesn't. But if it's coming out of the heart and going to the cells, it does. So it could have deoxygenated or oxygenated. But what is it about the arteries? It's coming out of the heart, so what must be true? High pressure. It's pushing out from the pump. So they're high blood pressure, all right? And so then these guys that are going in, so going in there and going in there, veins. Did I spell that right? E-I-N-S? Veins? V-E-E-I-N-S. Lower blood pressure. They're going back to the heart after being through the system. So they're low blood pressure. So they're towards the heart. So to the heart is where they're going. Any other labels on this picture that we need? What else we have here? Any other labels on that picture? Yep. So in this case, we've got here the CO2 is coming out of these guys. CO2 out. And here we've got O2 in. Is that what's in there? Anything else on our picture? They have the heart itself just labeled as a heart. Yep, okay. So heart. Anything else on this picture out of your textbook? Right, and I'm going to have a problem because when I bring this down, my writing is going to stay on top of that, I think, is what's going to happen. Actually, the computer is going to choke on that. Let's see what it does. It might not even let me write anymore. It's thinking about what to do. Yeah, you see how it's put all the writing back? So now I've got to clear my screen in order to continue with this. So in this case, here it has the oxygen out, right? O2 out. Where's that O2 going? Yep. The cells, muscles to the body. And here we've got, again, the CO2 is going in. That's after it's been used by the cells. It's going to expel that. And they labeled the capillaries itself. How many else? Capillaries. All right. Oops. R-I-E-S. This little guy is a capillary, I believe, right? So they're so small that the cells line up one by one. Capillary. This guy here, was that the big one? Is that a vein? That's a little one. So that's a vein. Notice how the veins have little valves in them so that the blood can't go backwards. So they'll go ahead and then those valves will close. It'll keep it from backing up because they're under low pressure. They're not necessarily moving because of the pressure, right? So they're kind of working their way back under low pressure to keep them from getting sucked back during a heart pump. They close that little valve up. Okay. And there you can see the muscular one. That's going to be an artery. All right. You guys can label that. My computer is going to choke on the fact that I moved the screen. It does not like it when I do that. Okay. So let's just clear the ink. That top one is artery. And again, I'm going to now just close that up and we are going to go to our note. Okay. Whoops. That's not what I wanted. I didn't want a new PowerPoint. I wanted the note. Click. Okay, the circulatory system. Now, you guys have your blanks there. Let's go through a few of those blanks before we take a look at what the answers are. The circulatory system is made up of. Somebody got some answers for those first ones? What do you got there, Zach? Heart, blood, and blood vessels. I like that. What are they transporting? Blank from the nutrients to all cells. Sorry, blank from the intestines to all cells. Oh, I see what I did there. I gave the answer away because I knew what the answer was when I was reading it. That's not good. The answer is nutrients. Number 2, blank from the lungs to all blank. What's coming from the lungs? Yep. O2 from the lungs to all the cells, you bet. Blank from the cells to areas of disposal. Not necessarily. We're not thinking about areas of disposal for that. Waste, just waste, various waste products. And then blank from the cells to the lungs. That's CO2, and it's to the lungs to be disposed or exhaled, I guess, etc., etc. Let's see if we've got that correct on the slide. So the human circulatory system is made up of blood vessels in the heart. Excellent. Its function is to transport substances around the body, nutrients from the intestines to all the cells, O2 from the lungs to all the cells, waste from the cells to areas of disposal, and CO2 from the cells to the lungs to be exhaled. Yep. This is the PowerPoint that is on the PowerPoint that's in there. So if you're not getting this all down, you can go to the PowerPoint, you can complete that and fill those in. That is correct. Yep. Okay. Blood, let's see if we can get them right before we move on. There are 4 components of blood. 3 are cells and the other is a liquid. Blank is made up of almost half of the blood's volume. They contain the red pigment blank. Do we have any answers there? What is the red pigment? Yep. Red blood cells. And what is that red pigment? Anybody know what that is called? Yep. Hemoglobin. Excellent. Which allows for the transport of O2. Hemoglobin is a very complex molecule. It contains iron. All right. Iron is the main part of the hemoglobin molecule. Some people have low iron, right? Very often, it's a condition where your body doesn't absorb a lot of iron. It means you can't produce a lot of hemoglobin. You tend to be very tired all the time because your blood cells don't carry a lot of oxygen because you don't have a lot of hemoglobin. All right. The word is anemic. If you're anemic, you don't absorb a lot of iron and you don't have a lot of hemoglobin. Excellent. Okay. Blank. These make up less than 1% of the volume, and they are very important in. Oh, that's a hard one. There's like just 2 blanks there. What, you got anything there? Yeah, what do you got? Yeah, fighting disease. Excellent. I agree with that. We'll check it in a moment. These large cells recognize and destroy foreign bacteria and viruses. It has to be white blood cells. Excellent. Good job. 3, blank. These tiny cells help in blood blank so we don't bleed to death when we have a cut. Does anybody know what these little blood cells are called? Yeah, what do you got, Zach? Sorry? Platelets. Platelets is how we say that. Platelets. All right? So this is what gets kind of caught in our cuts and kind of what makes a blood clot. You know, when you start to bleed, it makes that kind of a crusty part, which eventually becomes a scab. And so it is the platelets that prevent that. Excellent. And number 4, blank. This is a protein-rich, clear, yellowish blank that carries the blood cells. What is that stuff called? Yep. Plasma. Excellent. Yellowish, and it is simply a liquid. It is not made up of the cells themselves. So 4 components. Number 1, red blood cells make up almost half. They have the red pigment hemoglobin, which allows for O2 transport. White blood cells make up less than 1%, but they're very important in fighting infection. These large cells recognize and destroy foreign bacteria and viruses. Excellent. Platelets. These tiny cells help the blood in clotting so we don't bleed to death when a small blood vessel is torn. Platelets also make up less than 1% of the blood. Platelets are really only good for small cuts. You get a really big cut in an important artery, and it's very dangerous. That's where you got to have pressure and things like that. Plasma, protein-rich, clear, yellowish liquid, carries the blood cells along. It is mostly water, but can contain proteins, waste hormones, etc., etc. And it makes up most of the blood's volume. All right? Okay. Click. The heart itself, I guess we jumped ahead and didn't fill in the blank on that one, so we'll just keep going with this. The heart is a muscular pump made up of cardiac cell muscles. Those are very specific type of muscular cells. And again, they beat kind of involuntarily. These cells are specifically designed to contract and relax rhythmically in order to pump the blood through the body and not get tired. The heart rate, the frequency of the heartbeat, changes depending on activity, stress, and health. Blood enters the heart and is pumped through 4 hollow chambers until it exits through the blood vessels, leading to the lungs and other areas of the body. So again, there are 2 kind of halves to the heart, and one is pumping oxygen-rich blood out to the cells, right, pushing that oxygen-rich blood out to the extremities of your body where the cells need it. The other half of the heart is pumping it back to the lungs. So it's a double pump system. It pumps two volumes at a time. One volume is filled with filled with oxygen so that it can go out to your cells. The other one is filled with carbon dioxide and less oxygen, and it is going to your lungs to swap that out. All right, excellent. The next thing is we've got blood vessels. Let's try to fill in these blanks before we write them down. These are vessels. They form a network of tubes and transport blood to and from all the cells. The main blood vessels are arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries, these vessels carry blood blank from the heart. Blank from the heart. Yep. Away from the heart towards all the tissues. The thick, blank walls. What must be true about these walls? Yep, Cade? Yeah, they have muscles. They actually have muscles. If the pressure gets high, they will contract. All right. If you get cold, your hands get cold, they'll also contract to keep the blood from to keep the interior of your body alive. You know, in case you were like to have like frostbite on the extremity, it's going to keep all that blood close. Sometimes those blood vessels open right up. When you're embarrassed, those blood vessels open right up and your face gets really red because the blood ends up going out to those vessels close to the surface of the skin. Excellent. Veins, these carry blood blank the heart and from the tissues. So where are the veins heading? Where are the veins heading? Let's get through this, guys. We don't have much left. Yep. Towards the heart and from the tissues. The walls are blank since the blood from the tissues is under much less pressure. Yep. Thin walls. And capillaries, blank and blank, are linked together by the capillaries. Yep. Arteries and veins. The artery enters the capillaries and the veins leave the capillaries. These vessels are very small, microscopic. They have very thin walls to allow for the blank of blank and the nutrients across the cell membrane. That's a tricky one. Did anybody get that? Yeah, diffusion, I think, is the word we want to put in there. Diffusion, remember, that's that process of chemicals kind of going from a high concentration to a low concentration, and so diffusion takes that, and that is of O2 and nutrients across the cell membrane and from the blood to the cells, and blank and waste from the cells to the blood. That would be CO2 right at the very end. So let's check those out. So blood vessels, they are made up of arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries carry the blood away from the heart and towards the tissues. They are thick muscular walls and allowed to be carried under high pressure. Veins carry blood towards the heart and from the tissues. The walls are thinner since the blood is under much less pressure. Capillaries. Arteries and veins are linked together by capillaries, which extend into every part of the body. These vessels are very small. They have very thin walls to allow for diffusion of O2 and nutrients into the cells, and then again, CO2 and waste from the cells into the blood. Excellent. Now we got a little fill in the blank here just to see if we were paying attention. Blood. Well, let's first talk about what it's made up of. Blood is made up of blank, which fights infection, blank, which carries oxygen, blank, which helps in clotting, and blank, which transports nutrients. Which is which? What do you think? Yep. White blood cells, fights infection. I like it. White blood cells. Carries oxygen. Yeah, red blood cells. Red blood cells. Helps in clotting. Helps in clotting. Yep. Platelets. Platelets. Oh, I probably spelt it wrong. 2 L's. Platelets. I have no idea. T in there. Who knows? Platelets. What is it called when your body doesn't produce platelets properly, and if you get a cut, you can bleed to death like crazy easily? Yep. Hemophilia. Hemophilia. Have you heard of that before? It was kind of famous because it's a genetic scenario, and I think, was it English royalty had an issue because they all wanted to marry princes and princesses back, a long time ago, and so they were kind of marrying people too close to their bloodline. So this genetic kind of disease was kind of very common amongst the royals, hemophilia. All right. So blank transports the nutrients, and it transports everything else. Transports the white blood cells, the red blood cells. Plasma. Excellent. Plasma. Blood flows through. What are my options there? Yep. Arteries. What else? Yep. Good. Veins. And, yep. Capillaries. So again, my spelling is horrendous, but that's okay. Blood carries blank to the blank and blank to the blank. What is it transporting in the end? Yep. O2. Where's the O2 going? To the cells. Excellent. And what else? Yep. CO2. And where's it heading? To the lungs. Okay? And you could probably put nutrients also with that O2 to the cells. And waste wouldn't go to the lungs. It would go to places like the kidneys and that type of thing. The lymphatic system, I think they call it, where a lot of that waste is kind of funneled, I think eventually to the kidneys and then out to the body. Okay. All right. So that's going to be the end of that. I'm going to stop my, I am going to stop my video here, if I could get control of my machine here. Okay. Discard. Okay. Oh, stop that. Click.